Good day, everyone, and welcome to the Mag Show. Today, we are going to be talking about the rumor that popped up yesterday during the Xbox 2 podcast from my friend Jez Corden, and he was saying that he has a reliable source that has said that there is a possibility, not fact, possibility that Sony may be rethinking its PC strategy and why this is important for Sony's future. Now, let's get right into this. I'm going to pull up an article right here and talks about it. There. Oh, look at these lovely faces. Look at Jez's face right there. And we got Rand doing the people's eyebrow. Okay, as per Jez Corden, he stumbled across the news that PlayStation is pulling back from PC. This part is mostly true for tentpole single-player games, as the gaming giant will still release live service titles like the upcoming Marathon on PC. However, for tentpole single-player games, they may not arrive on PC, or even if they do, releases will be delayed for years on end now, in contrast to the quick releases they've been given in recent times. Now, I got a little bit something that's very important here. Other than that, the next-gen Xbox is also said to be a console-like PC and would let you play games from all publishers. Underline this part, folks. Eliminating the need to buy a console. This is why this rumor is actually making a lot of sense. We'll break it down in just a moment. As such, increased competition is now forcing Sony to rethink its strategy for porting first-party games to PC. Okay, so now we've got that out of the way. Let's talk about what that all means and why I think that this rumor may actually hold water. If you think about it, what's been happening up until this point with Sony's ports to PC only makes up about 3% of their revenue source. So that being the case, it's not a whole lot. And is it really worth it at the end of the day? Not entirely sure. Only Sony knows the answer to that. But either way, there was a boost, of course, in the fall with Helldivers coming to Xbox. It had already come to PC, and PC actually carried most of the weight of that game. And then it came to Xbox and sold incredibly well. Hence the fact that there would be no changes in live service products moving forward. However, those first-party titles, this is the key, folks. It takes away from purchasing the PlayStation console. Now, there are multiple factors here that we need to talk about. First and foremost, the ROG Xbox Ally X. It's already out there in the wild, and you're able to play those Sony first-party titles, which is wonderful for everybody who's purchased that product. However, from Sony's point of view, that means that they're going to be playing those first-party titles without the need, as it said in the article, to buy a console. And Sony's bread and butter is to get people to buy the console. Why? It is a funnel into their storefront, which is actually where they make the majority of their money. They're not really they use the funds for their first-party titles in order to fund other projects, but the revenue and the profit come from the store. DLCs, microtransactions, skins for Fortnite, Call of Duty, you name it. On top of the fact that they take percentages of the cuts of third-party titles, including Xbox titles as well. And then, of course, 100% of their first-party titles and 70% of their first-party titles sold elsewhere. This is why it's important for Sony that they need to continue to sell their hardware, because it is, at the time, this time, it is the only way to access their storefront. So that is why they need to continue to sell consoles. Now, think about the Steam machine that's coming out in early 2026 at hopefully a reasonable price. That's also going to get a lot of people to be able to buy those PlayStation games and not have to buy a PS5 in order to play those games. Now, if Sony decided to release their first-party titles in a faster, like a closer window, then it would immediately eliminate the need that people already have that in their mind as a consumer, saying, I can wait 6 months to buy Wolverine, or I could wait a year to buy fill in the blank. So that is why this is a threat. On top of that, let's talk about Project Magnus, as I like to call Project Mag because it sounds better. Anyways, that's coming out in the fall of 2027. Let's take, for example, Wolverine, that's coming out in fall 2026. Let's just say, for argument's sake, Insomniac and Sony decide to release it on PC a year later. Well, all those Xbox players that are going to buy Project Mag, sounds better, I'm sorry, they're going to wait. And they're not going to buy a PS5 console in order to play that game. That is also a threat to Sony. So they're looking at it, sure, they're going to make some money off of it, but it may not be what they're looking for as they're trying to continue to bolster their ecosystem and, of course, the sales of their consoles to get, again, more eyeballs on the store. This is why I think that this rumor holds water. I want to know what you guys think. Do you guys think that this is actually happening? I mean, now that I've told you everything I've told you and why it makes sense for Sony to not port the games to PC with all these emerging hardware devices that are coming out in the next few years, I don't know. It makes a lot of sense to me. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments section. Like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends. Stay magnificent. Have a great day, and we'll talk to y'all real soon.